Now, was there ever a stranger thing happened to me? I saw this chap on Facebook again, actually through Birds Flags, and I chased him down and he agreed to meet me in London. I've never met anyone in a public park spinning, and I got my lesson and I was very grateful to him. And I just, by way of introduction, this was to say hello to Paul Henry. Paul, would you like to come in?
Hello, thank you. I often spin in public, so it's not unusual for me. My background has a little bit of textiles in it, and very recently I found out that both great uncles on both sides of my family, I'm from Northern Ireland, one was involved as the supervisor of a retting mill for Morgashall linen works. I only found this out 2 weeks ago. And the other one was a supervisor in the accounts department, so not sure that counts, in York Street Flax Spinning, one of the largest linen flax spinning mills in the world at that time. Anyway, my involvement is with primary school children. It's part of a project that was set up by somebody called Cassie Liversidge, who wanted to introduce gardens into school playgrounds. And she set aside little areas where they can grow vegetables, fruit, herbs. She started growing wheat, and the children processed the wheat later on. And I got involved when she was doing flax. So my thing is getting the children involved with the whole process of how you grow, process, spin, and weave flax. The children I work with are 7, 8, 9 years old, so it's all quite young. But we do the whole process, right from sowing the seed. If I can find it, sorry. We take it as part of the education. So we use lots of leaflets and information from all sorts of places that have a history of flax. And one of the things that we're constantly involved in is that this is not just us, it's a worldwide thing. So all around the world, people are doing or have done over the years this type of project. We sort of specialize in the let's get the children interested. And one of the ways we found that was best with this was actually to focus on ancient Egypt. So what we do is we actually process it in a similar way and spin it and weave it as it might have been done 3,000 or 4,000 years ago. They do all the processing themselves. I come in after the retting, which they particularly enjoy because it's nasty and smelly. I come in with a box of tools. Oops, a box of tools. I travel on the tube across London, and I spin on the tube, much to the amusement of everyone in the carriage, but it's a long journey. We use line flax that they have produced. We start with breaking. We're not allowed machinery, so we use wooden blocks, wooden mallets to break it. We use rubber gloves, gardening gloves, and they are remarkably useful for small quantities of scutching. And then we use a selection of different size combs to hackle, and then we get into spinning. I use drop spindles. It means that every child can have a go. It's not always successful, but it's always fun most of the time. I demonstrate, we've got maybe 25 or 30 children, and I take them in groups of 6 or 7, and we all have a go. So every child has a chance to do each operation. The quality is not brilliant at the end of the day, but I don't care. It's all useful. And one of the things is, you can see it's thick and thin, doesn't matter. I spin some more, and then I ply it to make a reasonably coherent yarn, which in the past I knit items of clothing for a silhouette man on each school wall. So we had a hat, a jumper, trousers, we had socks, but we stopped that because we thought we could involve the children in another process, and knitting was just going to be too difficult. But weaving, so I started up the backstrap weaving, which is again a recognizable Egyptian one. Instead of trees or posts, we've got children, but we've got heddles. I cheat by using a commercial linen warp, but all the weft is the school's production. They produce this. It's mummy bandages, and the ultimate goal is each school has a paper mache model cat, and each one is going to be wound with mummy bandages, and every year they'll get an extra wrap around it. Each school might only produce a meter and a half of bandage, but that's fine. And again, this is something that we're very aware of. At the bottom of this picture is original Egyptian bandage, slightly coarse one, but original. And then above is what we can produce. Sometimes I leave it in the natural color. Sometimes I finish it and wash it and boil it so it's light.
That's 2 minutes, Paul.
Thank you. It's whatever we do at the time. One of the things that we're constantly doing is trying to instill that it takes time. Everything's valuable. It takes a whole class to produce a meter of cloth, a meter of ribbon. That's very valuable. We compare and contrast it with the t-shirts or the shirts or the jumpers that we're wearing. I'm a kilt maker and I always go kilted. And we talk about how long it would take to weave a length of cloth for a kilt. And whether or not we're using flax to make linen or wool or cotton or other fibers, it's very much the same process involved. And what we're trying to do is make everyone aware that there is a price of value to the work. We have to work together. We need processors, we need spinners, we need weavers, we need farmers, we need everybody to work together. And that's one of the things that's at the root of doing these projects within schools. We're working as a community, which was a nice echo to earlier presentations. We need to work together. Thank you.
Paul, wonderful. Thank you so much for that. A very rich presentation. It was wonderful to get that experience chatting with you in the park. Absolutely. I think our Linen Stories attempts to traverse art, design and industry, and ultimately it is about jobs for folk. It is about a living. It is about appreciation of what we choose to consume, and educationally we can use the proxy, if you like, of flax and linen in so many ways with the younger kids, with the secondary school age, at university level, as we talked about, and right across that instill all those wonderful notions of ecology, biodiversity, valuing textile. All these things have great impact when they're demonstrated so wonderfully as you have done. Peter Shishkritz, I'm going to attempt.
Yeah, it's Seacrest. I hope you can hear me.
Hi.
Hi. Yeah, I have been participating in this year's one Kvemelin, and that is actually 1 square meter of flax. And it's a project started by the Handicraft Society, and it gets some funding also from the state. And it's members all over Sweden actually, and they grow after their own possibilities. And we get the seeds sent out, and I think it was 15 grams or so, and also letters, mails, and information about what to do. And so far it has went very well actually. And later this autumn there are going to be gatherings for handling the linen. But so far,
Hey,
this is my square meter.
Well done.
Yeah. And I'm looking forward to that is rated already, but I'm looking forward to have it as a yarn also. There are a lot of small spinning machines for the household in Sweden. Mostly have been just for decorational use, the latest 100 years or something like that. So probably they're not functioning that good, but there is still a lot of smaller machines that is available all around. But I think that the spinning is the most tricky part actually in the whole process. So I would welcome some kind of central spinning function that we can use to get our own yarns from what we have sewn.
Thank you, Peter. That's a very interesting reflection as well on the that crucial stage of spinning being a tricky one. And I think a number of us who've been thinking about this have recognized that as a stage that is difficult. Hand spinning is a long process. We've heard from Paul already. To increase the capacity for that, perhaps with some sort of central resource, sounds a very interesting idea. So yes, I'd recommend everyone have a look at the 1 kVm lean project as well. In a different way than Berta's Flax, it is also a local story with a transnational, international link. And of course, it is being used in schools as well, much as Paul has demonstrated in East London. I've been in touch with module creators of the Ulster Scots linen educational module in Northern Ireland. And just on Friday, one of our first guests into the exhibition, retired school mistress from the north of Fife, who across north of Fife, while she was in post, had developed an educational module at secondary school level. So there's certainly potential. Like all these things, as we're seeing in this room, something about the individuals being caught, developing a passion for the project lets these things happen.